In this episode,
you talked about, the OnlyFans portion. These girls know what they're doing online. They know who their audience is. You have to know who our audience is. Yes, we're not going to be there with a bikini or some sort of toy, but we're going to play to our strengths for our audience.
Oh, it's true though. Like sex sells. I'm sorry, we can all laugh at it.
How are we going? No, let's veer back to the story. I feel like we've lost that story.
Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast. The unfiltered real estate podcast where 4 agents share real life stories from their careers in the crazy world of real estate. Now welcome Alan, Viv, Matt, and Adam.
Is this house still available?
Yes, it is still available. What questions can I answer for you?
All right.
Okay, Mr. Ed Stulak, welcome to the program. Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast.
Woo!
Brought to you, as always, by Legacy Brew.
Legacy Brew.
Yeah, Legacy Brew. And we have a very special guest. Of course, I'm Adam. This is Matt and Alan. But
Did you almost forget
I almost said Alan.
I thought I was a special guest.
Especially, basically, right?
But we've got a special guest here today in studio from New Jersey. So thank you for coming, Mr. Ed Stulak.
Yes. And then his guest is DJ Pauly. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, we'll get into gym tan laundry in a bit, maybe. But if you don't know, Ed is a social media, it says luminary here, which is a huge term, guru, whatever you want to call it. He's written a book. He's a broker at Real Broker, and he's really kind of leveraged Real and leveraged our community to really put himself into a different level of realtor. You do deals, obviously. You're an active realtor in the New Jersey area, but you're also massive on social media and an all-around good guy. I've hung out with you a little bit.
Very handsome
and
guy.
Very handsome.
Very handsome. Look, he's a young 31.
Yeah, a young 31.
Well, I mean, I'm 22, so...
Yeah. Sure. You look 22.
Hey,
and
like
maybe act 22 as well.
I act younger than that.
Yeah.
I get carded everywhere I go still. It's awesome.
Good for you. So, Ed, thanks for coming on. Let's just kind of break it down right from the beginning of your career. So, what did you do before real estate? What was your vocation? And then kind of how did you get involved with real estate from there?
The early stages of my life really brought me to, I guess we could start from college.
Yeah.
Penn State University. I was playing ice hockey there, studying pre-med. Just a totally different lifestyle that I had planned, that my parents more so planned. Let's put it that way. Sure, that was my mom's dream. They, as an only child,
Hey,
they were
nurse
just
over here,
like,
that was my mom's dream.
oh, there you go. Yeah. So I didn't have a choice. So I just kind of went in there until I failed, and I showed them, are you sure this is what you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And then eventually, long story short, I progressed out of that, and I got into social media. Do you remember Vine?
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
Loved Vine. Those were such fun days.
Yeah.
So,
First video social platform.
6-second platform. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
6-second videos. You got 6 seconds. Make something happen.
Yeah.
And so I saw that, and back as a college kid in 2012, 13, 14, I'm like, this is the new thing. This is the new era. So I started creating videos on there. Had fun. Fast forward, I got into the music scene. So I was a DJ for a second.
Okay.
Became a tour manager, and then from tour manager became social media manager.
Right.
Nice.
And I learned so many things from social media world of like, you have to build a personal brand, you have to have sponsorship, you have to look you have to say the right things, get on podcasts, like you need recognition.
Yeah.
And so I was doing this for DJs at the time. And then eventually I said, I like this. This is very fun. Us on social, this is fun. But it doesn't make the money that I want to.
No,
and I can't
doesn't.
look sharp in at all times, right?
Yeah.
So I want that. And I saw real estate being that option. So I got into real estate, sold my first home, and I'm like, hold on, there's something here. A lot of realtors, from what I'm understanding and perceiving around the world, are really good at sales, but man, they are not good at social media. Yeah. That's the one thing I've been doing.
I don't know if it's not good.
No, he just doesn't. He doesn't want to be honest.
Not interested.
Is that why he's a special guest?
Yeah. No, he's coming up with his own tech, right now. He's part.
We can get into that in a little
We'll get
while,
into that in a bit, but your story. Okay, wait. Before you go on there, so when you got into, first, I guess it was music.
Yeah.
And then you went into real estate. Mm-hmm. The level of disappointment on your mom when you weren't.
Hi.
Yeah, right? Until you start, doing and transacting.
Yeah.
Then they're probably like, wow, we always believed in you, right?
That was Dad. Dad was just like, get this over with so you can get back to school.
Yeah.
And I said, just give me a second. Like, I'll get back in there.
Yeah.
It's been 9+ years.
Amazing.
I have not gotten back. So
you're killing it. So that's amazing.
I'm having fun.
So let me ask you about social media. And I mean, we can talk about a lot of different topics, but obviously you've written a book, Expose Yourself. It's all about social media marketing for realtors. So what was that trajectory where you were like, okay, we were talking about Vine and what Vine was, and then you saw it as, okay, I'm doing this for DJs. That's kind of a sexier product than maybe selling a 2-bedroom condo in New Jersey, right? Sure. So what year was this, and how did you feel like, okay, this is going to be my new thing? And did you get any flack for that? Like, what are you doing out there doing these weird videos? Was that something that you had pushback on as well?
For sure. I think a lot of us get pushback on being our authentic selves online. And the second we make a video, whether it's sexy or if it's like maybe against the grain or maybe it's a little different and along the gray lines, people are going to have, you can post the best video, the most generous, giving, valuable video. Someone will still have a problem with it.
I had that.
I bet.
Someone really close to me pushed back on one of my last videos, but that was okay. It did kind of highlight sex trade, which I didn't mean for it to. But
yeah, we had to tweak a couple things because I was like, wait a second.
Oh, wait, this could be sex trade.
And I was the main character in this video.
I give Adam all the lines because he used to be in this world of acting. And I never remember the lines when we're doing our videos together. And I'm like, I'm just going to write Adam all the lines and I'll do all the reactions. And after I gave him these lines, he's like, I can't say this. I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah.
This looks really bad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we tweaked it enough. I think it came through well enough.
Just don't cross the border with him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm learning.
Swipe your phone through all of that. So let's talk about the pushback that you received, because I bet you did. So, when did you kind of go all in on this? And then what do you say to people that are like, you're too out there? Your videos are out there. They're a little bit more, unconventional. They're not your, hi, I'm Ed and I'm going to sell this home to you today. So were there anybody that was saying to you, dial it back, don't go all in on that sort of content?
Sure. I think we all get that type of pushback from one person or another. Person that we know, person that we don't know, family, friends, random strangers, you don't know. I think the people that will resonate with your content will be those that will stay for a long time. They will be fans.
Those typically are your tribe, right? Right? And that's how they get you. I mean, it's like in real life too, right? I mean, not everyone's going to like you, right? You stick with the people who like you.
Some people cannot get that through their heads, and they think that I have to please everyone across the board.
Which is the wrong approach. I mean, you're friends with the property brothers-in-law, right?
Sure, yeah.
And their stuff is out there. We've had them on. We've asked them about the same question. And you guys are both from Jersey, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean, you guys probably go back and forth, be like, I'm going to push the envelope this one. And after they could do something, you're just like, I can't.
Yeah, it happens. But I don't know. At the end of the day, as long as from my perspective, when it comes to social media, if I ever make it feel like a job, I'm going to hate to do it.
Yep.
So if I create the stuff that I want to create and people, like the book, for example, calling it Expose Yourself, I know it's going to get people giggling, but I know people will talk about it, and I'm all good with that. Some people will say, it's a little too much, and I don't care.
So was there a moment that kind of clicked into you that you had maybe a success that you didn't think that you were going to have, or it got you into a position or a room that you didn't really think that that you would get into, that it kind of catapulted your career?
There's several. I would say several stories. Again, I mean, we were just at the event today talking, and I said, you don't know who knows who knows what, or who's watching your stuff. God knows who's going to watch this show. Someone could, someone big, someone prominent. But like knowing that fact. I'm just going to go all in and see what happens. And from the years of just posting and talking all about that stuff, the first story I'll say is there was my friend texted me. She says, hey, I'm in the green room right now. We're about to go on stage to talk. I'm about to open up for Ryan Serhant. We just so happened to start talking about you, Ed, in the green room, just amongst ourselves and the speakers and all that. And Ryan walked in, and he heard your name, and he was like, "Oh, I know that guy." And so he recognized me from the content that I create online, which to me, I never saw that happening, never saw that coming. But he obviously heard the name somewhere. So it was maybe a funny video that I made, or maybe something. So it must have done something to me stick in his mind, kind of thing. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know? And then, of course, just an opportunity that I was talking about as well today.
Yeah, at the event. I mean, like, it's fun. You never know who's going to be there. I mean, I don't recommend talking to 13-year-old boys.
That was talked about.
Yeah. But I did like one of the takeaways that you did.
You might want to fill in on that story so it's not hanging there. Just
I was going to leave the cliffhanger, then cut the clip. Ed can get into that after. But one takeaway that I thought was really good, you talked about, the OnlyFans portion. So, but it's totally true. Nowadays, it's like, I mean, these girls know what they're doing online. They know who their audience is. And that's basically what we kind of have to do. We have to know who our audience is. Yes, we're not going to be there with a bikini or some sort of toy, but we're going to play to our strengths for our audience. And I think that's really valuable, what you said there. I know it sounds like a joke, but...
No, it's true though. Like sex sells. I'm sorry, we can all laugh at it.
How
but
are we going? No, let's veer back to the story. I feel like we've lost that story.
No.
And now you've hit sex sells, which is like I'm just gonna
sex sells to their audience, but then
correct.
Yes.
Right. That's where I'm going with this.
I like this guy. Cheers. All right.
Let's talk about like that in
newbies.
In the realm of getting you into different rooms, and you're active on the DMs. You're commenting on people's stuff. How has that helped you?
It's being proactive. I'm not waiting for my phone to ring. I'm picking it up and dialing or reaching out or sending video messages to people, just saying, "Hi, I'm Ed. I saw your stuff. I see that you're doing," for example, legacy, right? Like if I were to stumble upon their Instagram, it would be, "Hey, I've seen your page. You create really cool content. Now I've had your brew at the studio. Like it's good stuff. I just wanted to pay you guys the compliment. Thanks so much. Have a great day." I didn't say anything of, "Hey, we should collaborate. Hey, we should, do something. Hey, you should buy my stuff now." Yeah. Nothing of that sort. I was just genuinely saying, "Hey, Adam, nice suit."
Yeah, and you do that. So, and you made a great point at our presentation this morning. You do that instead of, and you can do both, but instead of the door knocking, because your point was, well, what would you rather do? Would you rather do it, through the DMs, genuinely collaborate with local business owners, local people in your area through that way, and they can just ignore you if they want? Or do you want to, go out to a neighborhood on a Sunday morning and start knocking on a bunch of doors? What is more intrusive to the average person? Matt's probably like, I'd love to knock.
You get the hose turned on you less online, I'm sure.
Well, and the thing is, too, we've talked about this in the past. I mean, your stuff online stays, right?
Yeah.
That moment in time where you maybe will reach someone at the door, that's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
And then it's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas your online content stays and other people can look you up. And it's meant for other people as well. It's not just that one household. You know what I mean?
Right on.
So there's a lot more value that way.
But if I were to take it to the person that's probably listening right now and says, "Well, guys, thanks for talking about this stuff. It's the modern day, but that's just not me. I'm going to stick to my door knocking. I'm going to stick to my cold calling." We're not discounting that. It works. It works very well. But how can you tweak even that and make that a little bit more better? So I'll tell you what I've been recently doing. I sent out a postcard for an open house that I was recently doing, and one person actually scanned the code that I have on the back. I got their address, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to go door knock on that specific door. Pretend I don't know that they scanned my code. I'm just going to go there and door knock and invite them to the open house."
Yeah.
But I wrote them a nice letter in case they didn't answer the door, because what if they don't? What if no one's home? Then what? What am I just going to say? "All right, well, I tried"?
Yeah.
No, I wrote a handwritten letter and just said, "Hey, I'm doing an open house at that property right down the road from 1 to 3 o'clock. From 12 to 1, we're doing exclusive invite only. All the neighbors are invited. Also, you're going to notice that there's a lot of traffic in the area. Not sure if you have kids or anything of that sort. Just be safe, just notice." And I wrote that all out with the handwritten, not computer, no AI. Like I wrote that and said, "Hey, thanks so much. Hope to see you there."
Yeah.
And I stuck it in the door.
Right.
It's just personality. I think if anything out of this conversation, it's being more personal than ever before.
Yeah.
Because so many things nowadays are very easy to copy and paste.
Oh, easy.
And so if you can show to the world, look, this is the most uncopyable and pastable thing that you can do, that's where the conversations really start. That's
Yeah.
where it's like, wow, that person just invested his time, her time to talk to me about that one specific thing that is relevant to me.
Yeah.
Now,
Then
that's
if you
the
want to be a
conversation.
lazy agent, you just film that once and then just put it down below. Did this to 300 homes and actually only do that once.
Yeah. Well, and Tirajay was talking about it today as well because she was on the panel, and it's true. It's like you can do both. Like you can marry the two. Like what you just did was you do social, so you'll blanket an area with your social media, so people may see you sponsored ads on the phone, whatever. And then you can also do the postcards, which is okay. Well, now I've seen them online. Now they're in my home through a postcard. You add QR codes, which I think is really interesting. So it's the marrying of two things, and they can all work. It's just how do you brand yourself well? And maybe that's another question for you. If you're giving realtors advice on how to brand yourself, what would you say to a realtor looking to really establish a strong brand?
There's several different variables that are important in today's world, such as is your brand a logo? Is it typography? Is it actual font that people recognize you for? I just saw recently Airbnb went through a whole change. They said they went through a whole change, but when you look at old logo and new logo, you look at them like you guys just spent how much, $50,000 to adjust one little thing?
Probably at least,
if not more. Sure.
Yeah.
So. But to some people, the designers of this world, the creative eyes, will be like, oh no, I see the A. It has a square. That's a little bit of a squiggle. It's different.
Right.
That's how much companies invest into their brands.
Yeah.
And funny enough, I don't know if you guys know the story behind the real logo, but the real logo that was also designed by a college kid or a high school kid over a weekend as a fun project.
Oh, really?
And Tamir still decided to use that as the company logo till today.
It's reversible.
It's
both
reversible
the
too.
A and
Yeah.
the E are reversible,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the L and the R are reversible.
And I mean, now we're talking about branding and logos,
yeah.
and how Pepsi acquired Remax, right?
Well, I mean, and that, but so maybe give you your opinion that you used to be with Remax, right?
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting one because that created a lot of buzz online, and I think everybody saw like the balloon turning into basically a Pepsi logo,
Sure.
and so it was that. Do you, in your opinion, a smart move where that was what their intent was, or do you think maybe that wasn't a great move because now you've married yourself with Pepsi for no reason?
That's a good topic. I personally applaud Remax for taking their ego out of the equation and saying we need to change with the times because if we don't adapt, we'll die. I don't think Remax has the weakness to die, unfortunately, or fortunately for that matter. I love Remax. I love everything about them. I was there for a solid 2 years. I got very close to all the C-suite people, the corporate side. I was just in Europe speaking at a Remax
Yeah, you were.
event.
Yeah.
I love Remax. I have nothing to say against them. But the fact that they are such a more prominent older company and they've decided themselves, hey, even though we're strong, we still got to adapt.
Yeah.
Like I applaud them for that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's other things that they can evolve as well with the company, right?
Yeah.
Models and all that stuff, because there's other important things. But every good company knows when the time is to evolve, when the time is to change. What was another company that just went through it? Not Hyundai. Jaguar. Jaguar just went through it recently, right?
Got roasted.
Yeah, they got roasted
Did they
for
really?
it.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
What did they do? What
Yeah.
did they do?
They softened their brand in a way that just it didn't have any. Didn't look like it had any relevance to
Gotcha.
what it had been, what the car is, or anything like that.
Correct.
It looked like a soap product or something. You know.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
See, they
It
should
went
they
very-
should go after a target market. Just turn Jaguar into Cougar. And go after the older ladies.
The
It
niche.
went very political. Let's put it that way. It went very political.
And that's,
to the
I mean,
point
you
where it
could die
shouldn't.
by that sword, right? I mean, political.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, you don't
Yeah.
want to do that.
So there's the point, I guess, to this is like how does one brand themselves, or like a company like Remax? I applaud them.
Yeah.
Like awesome for changing your logo.
Yeah.
And they've modernized it too, very sleek, very
Yeah, it looks
sexy,
good.
right?
I like
They
it,
did good.
other than the fact that it does look like a Pepsi freaking
Sure
logo.
does. Sure does.
So now let's scale that back to personal branding, right? So what do you think? What are your suggestions? And like overall, like what is the most effective that you've seen with agents?
So we just started touching on it, and then we got rudely interrupted by Adam when I said sex sells.
I know. My apologies. I wanted to steer away from sex sales and 13-year-olds.
You just brought it back. Huh?
Well, hey, you guys started back up.
But when it comes to a personal brand, I say that there are 5 things that are very important variables that every brand or personal brand should at least retain one or the other to really get it moving forward. So I say your personal brand is either very entertaining, it's very educational, you're showcasing that you're entertaining in the sense of relevance. So when I say this third one, I'm talking like kids, family, your personal life, like that stuff that everyone can relate to. Because all 4 of us here, we have families in some shape, right? So you post yours, I'm going to have relevance to it. Same thing, vice versa. Animals. Right, so I say animals sell very well. People just love animals. They see a cute dog.
I hate dogs.
Yeah, you're speaking to the choir over
This
there.
guy. And then, like I said, the last one's sex. So, like, if you can incorporate some of those into your brand to showcase that you are educational, you are entertaining, you do showcase some sort of relevance to people, that will get people feeling an emotion to your brand, a bit more of attachment.
Yeah.
So that's one element to it. And then colors, like colors are such an important aspect too. Yeah. Red means this, green means that. Right?
Yeah.
Blue means trustworthiness, where green means energy efficient.
What does hot pink mean?
Hot pink means boss ass bitch.
I have hot pink in my stuff. I just incorporate it. I love it.
See, and you are.
And you are a boss-ass bitch. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
So let's, speaking of branding, I mean, this is obviously a brand tool for you, the book. So maybe go to, like, what was your thought process of writing a book, and how did that all kind of come to be? And then we'll kind of talk about what's in the book.
Yeah, heck yeah. So this guy reaches out to me on Instagram, and he says, hey, man, like, you're traveling, you're speaking, you're selling real estate. Like, where's the book? Mm-hmm. I said, I don't want to write a book. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm at a point to write a book. Yeah. And I definitely don't want to write one about myself because, like, who the hell am I? That's how I'm thinking, 4 or 5 years ago. And then he said, nah, dude, like, there's a way we can do it. Like, I'll help you out. So his name is Ron. Shout out to him, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have probably even thought about putting a book together. Yeah. So he sits down with me. He actually flies to New York City. He's from Colombia. Sits down with me for a weekend, and you should see that hotel room. It was plastered in Post-it notes. Like, we're going to talk about this chapter, that chapter, take that chapter, and that chapter, we'll combine it into one. Actually, never mind, screw that. And, like, that was a weekend project. Mm-hmm. And then it was a lot of me just talking into my phone about putting some thoughts that are in the head onto paper, in a sense. And then it was just organizing everything. Mm-hmm. The funny part about this, though, it took me 3.5 years to write. Mm-hmm. For 3 years of those 3.5, the book was called Real Estate Fame. Okay. And I hated it. Mm-hmm. Despised it. Like, Real Estate Fame, stupid. Like, it's the only thing that I can think of. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't really justify what it's about. And it's not sexy. It's not sticky. So that was a big reason why I waited for 3.5 years to actually post it and launch it. About 6 months before I launched the book, ChatGPT is introduced to the world. And I'm like, damn.
And you don't have any chapters on that.
Kind of a big, big wrinkle.
And then also on top of that, everyone's going to think I wrote it through ChatGPT. So I'm like, damn it. So, like, now I have 6 okay, now I'm like, we got to wrap this up and get it out there. So I finally posted, in my caption when I posted it online announcing to the world, I wrote a book. I said, I did not use ChatGPT. This was from the heart. This was from my mind. Like, I had an editor. I hired an editor to edit it, make it sound polished. But other than that, though, like, this was just from the noggin. So, but also I didn't talk about ChatGPT in there because it wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so that was the process to it. It was a book that was never meant to be put together that I decided to do, and then here we are.
So how was that process? Like, did you enjoy it? It seems like it seems labor intensive and like a lot of work for. You don't know how it's going to go. New author. I'm sure there was no advance given by a publishing company, right? So it was really just a labor of love. Was this a brand play? Was this I'm going to sell these books play? Like, what was this? What was the reason behind writing a book?
We know Grant Cardone. Yep. So Grant Cardone has his little stepladder of, well, if you can't sell a client on, your $50,000 package, we'll sell them on a $6 book. Mm-hmm. First, and then sell them on the course that you sell for $200, and then sell them on a one-on-one for $4,000, and then eventually you'll step up to getting your speaking engagements or whatever you want to charge for $50,000. So that was where I saw, because what I was doing was speaking. What I had was an online course, but I didn't have an introductory product.
I see.
So I figured a book could probably be one of those things. Yeah. My Instagram is number 1. That's free. Right. See what I do. Right. Second could be the book. $15.99 on Amazon.
Part of your funnel. Basically.
Yeah, part of the funnel, exactly. Yeah. So I needed to build out the funnel. It's still a building in process, but that's
I think you're always going to be, the funnel's always going to change with the times. The technology just changes so
Every
frequently,
entrepreneur
right?
does.
Well, speaking of technology, because I kind of want to incorporate Matt's through our podcast, we've kind of touched a little bit, but it's very hush hush on what you're doing, right? So, do you see any synergies here? What you're planning on launching versus what Ed's doing, kind of the realtor that Ed is?
Mm-hmm. I do, actually, yeah. Despite not being a social media guy myself, I like to step back and have a 30,000-foot view of it all to see how it all fits together from an industry point of view. And I guess Ed wouldn't even know, but right now we're building out a new platform that basically marries the social media aspect back with the real estate aspect again. Because in the social media realm, one thing I'm sure you could talk to it is a challenge that you see if you look at it from above is that realtors they try at social media and they seem like they get discouraged. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to post. And when you look though at the real estate, so one of the aha moments was looking at Zillow and looking at a listing on Zillow and the view count on Zillow for that listing. And you can see it again and again. I could just pull up endless examples where the view count on that listing is 5,000, 10,000, whatever it might be. I go and I look at that realtor's Instagram, and sure enough, they're doing content around that listing. They're getting 100 views, 50 views, 2 likes, And so there's this huge gap in between where their content is, where their social media is, but where the traffic is going for the real estate and a pre-targeted pre-targeted traffic. So I know that every realtor would in a second, trade that to get that other traffic. So we're building a platform that basically marries those two back up, gives control over to the realtors to be able to post into their listings, to pull from their Instagram, to connect everything in TikTok, whatever they want to do, so that it makes their content relevant around what they're actually selling. And not only that, but marketing themselves too. Because every listing, the way they market it, that's a mark on their resume for the next potential client to say, here, this is how I'm going to do it. And I hope that by doing that, what we can also do is it inspires realtors and gives them more relevance within their industry and their topic, and ideas for content where they don't just feel like they're swimming in this endless sea of noise out there that they just can't cut through. Well, what if we have a platform that people are going to search on because they're searching real estate, so we've got a pre-targeted audience over there, and we've just turned your listings back over to you to say, brand it, put your content up, take it down, put new stuff up, all with the MLS listings though. Because I've seen examples of that where the single video form has been tried before, where you get your subscription as a realtor, you send them your single video for your listing, they put some details over top of it, superimpose with some music, and then run that. The consumers voted with their feet on those because you can't search anything. Right. It's not relevant to them. People want to be able to have that functionality to search, to look at the house that just popped up down the street, that they drive by every day. With those platforms, you can't do that. Right. Whereas with ours, full MLS, but basically if it was an MLS that's just like a Zillow turned over back to the realtors.
Does this mean our NDA is expired now that we can talk about it? Good Lord,
Yeah.
I've been...
So what's the how far along in the process are you now?
We're building now.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. And then are you going to be hitting Jersey?
The idea is to launch in the U.S. first.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. There you go.
And
get Ed in there first.
And when do you think that is going to be?
We're hopefully about 6 months out from the beta. So we want to get, once we're at beta, we want to get it into the hands of as many realtors as possible. And then after that, we're probably about 3 months until a full launch.
Wow. So this is something that Matt's been working on for
2 years now.
2 years at least.
From a very, very, very different idea portion that it's changed and it's iterated, and I think the timing as we look at it now, especially in the U.S. with what's going on down there, I think I hope that we're coming in at a perfect time. And maybe, Ed, that's something that you can, I can ask you a leading question with our Canadian realtor listeners are probably blissfully unaware of everything that's going on in the U.S. in the real estate industry.
Yeah, probably.
For the most part. But there's been a lot of upheaval. And how do you see social media and personal branding factoring in now with all of those changes and the perception around realtors and real estate and value add and how realtors explain their value to clients?
I would say the veterans that have been doing real estate for a while and are succeeding in it, they are just kind of scruffing their shoulders and saying, this is nothing. We've been through worse. We've been through 2008, through 2009. We've been through COVID. We've dealt with changes before, so this is nothing. The new ones are freaking out. They are like, oh my God, my business is over. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to talk about now. How do I post? Do I have to post more? Do I have to not talk about it? Do I talk about it? Do I tell people? Do I not tell people? They're freaking out. At the end of the day, I feel that if you're still navigating the waters, be cautious, be careful with what you're talking about. Maybe you don't have to say every single thing, just, kind of tread lightly here. But don't also feed the consumers wrong information. So I think right now what's happening, at least in the States, is that everyone has their own idea of what's going on. So they're going to share that idea, and it's their opinion. And that gets consumers then asking dumb questions because they're like, I saw that person talk about this. Is this true? We don't have to pay a commission now, for example, right? No, seller, this is not true. Here's how it works. You can, it's negotiable, and then you have to explain, right? But that's what's going on. That's what I'm at least noticing right now. And I'm sure the waters are going to change once again, once new changes come around. Some sort of a new compensation plan was just released not too long ago now. Not compensation plan, I'm sorry. Exposure, right? Cooperating. So
clear cooperation.
Clear cooperation. So now that's a new thing, which I'm going to start to see more and more people talking about. So that's the unfortunate part about this, is that there's no one person that is going to regulate how social media content should be creating with these new rules and regulations being changed and evolving constantly. I wish there was. So a lot of realtors can either stop or you're doing it right. You keep saying, but you shut up now.
Yeah. So, I mean, you would probably counsel realtors to quit with the inside baseball stuff and, focus on the listings, focus on themselves as a brand and having fun.
It's good to talk about the stuff that works and talk about the stuff that's happening right now, of course. But if you don't know, don't
see that's interesting. When we get changes here, especially in BC, I mean, you see a lot of the older realtors and the pros push back on these new disclosures and all this stuff, right? And the new guys are jumping on it. So with that in mind, when the new commission structure came out, or when there was no more, or you have to actually disclose that, you're going to have to ask your seller or your buyer for the commission. When that rolled over, how did you take it personally? How did you transmit that to your clients?
Personally, I didn't know how it was going to go because on top of all the closing costs and all the fees that a buyer already has to pay, now it's that was a lot, but we're going to add more.
Yeah.
So now I had to explain this more to buyers. So not only do I have to explain the closing costs, the fees, this, that, now also the market is tough to win in. Also, by the way, you might have to pay me now more. That was what I was going up against day 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm just looking at it as simple economics. This is just supply and demand. Lots of supply, demand might be a little lower. Lots of demand, supply might be low, and just this is how I see things. With that said, just talking to any buyer or seller, if we're in a market where your house has a lot of demand, you might be in a position where you could potentially not pay. We'll see, because a lot of buyers will do anything. Now, vice versa. Hey, seller, you're in a really bad market. You probably really, really want to sell this, right? Right. Okay, so are you willing to sell it for 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever we agree on? Do you want to sell it for that, to get it out of your portfolio, get it out of your out of your hands? Yeah, okay. So now it's just explaining very logically what this means. We have the rental market. We're very big in the rental market in New Jersey. So the way it works there is it's either the landlord pays the commission to a realtor, the tenant pays the commission, or we split it half and half. Again, depends on the market and the area. There are some towns where it's tough to have a tenant pay the commission because it's just not in demand. There are some other towns that a tenant will pay much more, whatever, just get me into that house. I need to be in this location. Like, for example, Hoboken, which is right across the street from New York City on the Jersey side. People will pay no problem just to get in there. Right. So then you look at that and just transition it over to the buying world. Hey, buyer, do you really want to move to this town? Or like, you couldn't care really less. Yeah. Oh, well, if I lose, it's whatever.
Did you see a lot of pushback at first when you were going through that?
Very little. Because I knew how to explain it to clients.
There you go.
I tell them it's negotiable. I don't know. Offer a bad deal and you're probably going to have to pay. Like, offer a good deal, they'll probably pay. I don't know how much simpler I could really.
I mean, as long as you dress like that,
yeah,
right.
I think to Matt's point, though, it's maybe this is where the leading was, but it's what I thought in my mind. The stronger your personal brand is in that market, and the more you've cemented yourself as the realtor of that, either that brand, that product, that city, the better, the less pushback I think you're going to have when it comes to, hey, I get paid for this as well, and here's what the rates are, versus somebody that they may not know, that they may not have that trust, that may not think knows the area, that they're trying to get the deal, and maybe snuff out the buyer's commission. And for people that are listening, just to make it really simple, because this is Canadian, but this happened in the States, essentially right now, in Canada and used to be in the States, that the seller would pay both the buyers and the seller commission, and they have taken that out of the deal, out of the MLS in the States, and now it's negotiable who pays,
which it always was.
Which it always was.
It was a perception change. It wasn't a change in fact.
Totally. But I mean, when you take it out of the contract, all of a sudden you have the question of, well, who's paying, right? And that was never the case. It was just, hey, I'm paid by the listing agent or the the seller, and that's how I get my commission. Where before, now that's all gone, and it's, okay, now who's paying what?
I have a buyer's agent. She just texted me 2 hours ago saying, hey, I'm going to go show the property tonight at 5 p.m. Is the seller's paying commission?
Right.
I said, yeah.
Yeah.
She said, how much? I said, negotiable. She said, what does that mean? I said, whatever your terms are and whatever the offer is, we will negotiate.
Yeah.
Well, I need to know what the percentage, so I know. Up to 2.75.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you 2.75. What if your offer sucks?
Yeah.
Then I'm doing my clients a disservice.
Yeah.
What if the offer is really good?
Yeah.
We'll give you 2.75.
Yeah.
Give me a good offer and we'll talk.
Yeah.
They have such better commissions out there.
Yeah, they do. I know.
We get
everywhere
like
else.
That, eh?
Oh, well, I negotiated that. That took me some time. But
yeah.
It's usually 2%, by the way.
Yeah, we get much less.
You get less?
We get way.
Oh, yeah.
Buyer side is like 1 point.
Well, it seemed like
really.
Yeah.
It seemed like one thing that that in the news and in the media that was kind of missing was they always talked about it as if the buyers were first-time home buyers, right? Like, so where's that commission coming from if not from the seller? The buyers can't afford it. Not factoring in the clients that are selling and then have to buy something else.
Yeah.
Just in there, you see the opportunity, I think, for their agents to say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if I can do your listing for X, and if the buyers or if the other sellers aren't paying commission, that factors into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's the negotiation side. That was just probably not there before, or not there to the same degree. I mean, I think we all kind of negotiate sometimes our commissions, but it's.
But I think that to me, in the new perception and the new mindset, given the opportunities in social media for agents to show their value to clients, to say, hey, I'm working hard to sell your home.
Yeah.
If they're doing neighborhood walkthroughs now.
Yeah.
And pointing out different businesses in the neighborhood. What's it actually like to live in this neighborhood?
Yeah.
That type of thing. I think sellers look at that and go, yeah, that's good. It's working for me at least.
Yeah. Because realtors all, for the most part, just do the same thing as any other realtor would. So if all four of us are at a table with a seller, I mean, all of us can put the property online. All of us can go ahead and, tell our friends about it. But how are you marketing it differently than you? And what are you doing that's different from you? And what am I bringing to the table?
It's all about showing value nowadays, right?
This is where the personal brand comes in. It's like, what are you doing for your brand, but that's going to push my product here, which is the house.
Totally. No, I totally agree with that. I mean, like, I just got a new listing not too long ago, and this guy's wanting to work with me. He's a developer, and he's just like, I love your videos. I want a video. I want you to get me one of your videos. And I couldn't do it last year because I was going through some stuff, but now I'm actually working on them this year because now I can. So, I mean, that stuff really works. And people say, oh, no, it just doesn't. It's just, no, it really does work.
They wanted to experience the Alan effect that you gave for other sellers.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
the truth. Like,
Exactly.
I want what he did for that person. I want the same thing.
Exactly.
That's what makes your brand better. And that's why you would probably win this listing appointment, is because I just don't have what you have in that sense.
Oh,
right?
you do. You
Well,
got it.
you called it disruptive content today, which I like that term because it is that. I mean, yours is disruptive content. It's not stuff you just like. Hi, I'm Alan at blah blah blah. blah.
Love
You know,
the concept.
it's
It's so
like
good.
Alan does the videos with Scream and all that stuff. That I mean, when you look at it, you go, what is this? And then you get entrenched, and the house is, it's put in a good light, but it's very secondary to the whole getting attention to and people. I mean, that's not just good for the house. That's good for you because you're getting those people that says, I want you to do that for my place. Yeah. My other guy just did like a panning shot of, the home, and it was boring. And
that's the thing though. We did a video for one of my listings, and that video actually sold it, but we had the dialogue. I'm like, I didn't have an idea for this. It was so last second, and we had Adam as the seller, and there was a co-listing agent, and we were just like, what are we going to do for it? There was the boring agent, then my idea, right? And that video actually ended up selling the home.
Yeah, right. It did,
right?
Didn't it?
So because she was the girl who bought it. She followed me on Instagram already.
Yeah.
And she was looking for a while, didn't find anything she liked. She was looking, I think, for like 2 years or like a year and a half. And then saw the video, checked out the property, and then bought it.
See, that's a story that you can now tell again and again and again and again. And it's not BS. It's actual, proof is in the pudding story that you now have in your back pocket that you will serve you going forward with every listing presentation you go into. So just like writing a book, expose yourself. That is something you can drop into every household and be like, I don't know about you, but does your other realtor have a book and is on speaking engagements?
And do they expose themselves?
And do they expose themselves?
Exactly.
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Ed, thank you so much for coming on the Subject Free podcast. It's been a blast.
That
and
flew by so fast.
Flew by so fast. Expose yourself. You can get it on Amazon,
right?
Yep. And then how else can they get a hold of you, Ed, if they want to follow you and follow your stuff? Yeah,
on Instagram, Ed Stulak, EDSTULAK.
All right.
Ed Stulak. All right. Thanks very much for coming on. All right.
Thank you. Woo!
Thanks for listening to the Subject Free Podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, rate, and review. Until next episode, we hope you're going in subject free.